If you want the Las Vegas Raiders to add some extra depth at the defensive end position, click that like button right now. Antonio Pierce on Monday said that Tom Telesco is looking to do exactly that. He wants to be able to go out there and add some help at the edge, to add a little bit of help there at defensive end. So coming up here on today's show, we're going to be looking at some of the top names on the free agent market. We're also going to be looking at some names that I would rather the Raiders target in free agency. Like today, I wanted to give you as many names as humanly possible, but then also 3 names that I really want the Raiders to target, and then also 2 guys that they could potentially trade for. One, absolutely, that they should consider. But right now for the Raiders, here's your defensive end group. Tyree Wilson, no update on him at the time that I'm recording this video. From AP, battling that knee injury, left against the Chargers. Malcolm Koonce, he's on the short-term IR, placed on IR. He's going to be out for 5 weeks. So to me, I'm sitting up here going, thank the Lord. The Raiders got $27.4 million in salary cap space. I've been begging this team for months to go out and add more edge help. And I know that some people, and I think Charles Snowden is a good player, don't get me wrong, and he's going to have to step up here, no doubt about it, because you're going to need that extra depth help here. And there was at times yesterday where I thought he looked okay. The offsides early on did scare me a little bit, but he was juiced up. I think every single player was a little bit juiced up. Here's going to be one thing that I'm going to throw out there that might be an unpopular opinion. Maybe it's a popular opinion. One guy that I would consider not as like a defensive end, but if we're going to add just like an extra edge guy in terms of getting him out there and trying to get after the quarterback, what about Amari Gaynor? And again, I'm not saying defensive end. I'm saying it's a clear third down situation. You can put him on the field and tell him to go get the quarterback. He showed me a lot in the preseason where even if it's a situation that he's got to drop back and head into coverage, like I have confidence in him to be able to do that. I don't know if the Raiders want to put him in that situation, but if you're not confident or you don't go out and you sign anybody this week, to me, it's at least an idea that I would throw out there of Amari Gaynor could. He was listed by some as an edge, just another name to just throw out there. Now, here's the one thing. If the Raiders end up signing any of the big names, so there's 3 big name defensive end edge rushers that we'll talk about. If they end up signing any of those guys, I'm going live. If they end up trading for anybody, I'm going live. If they end up signing anybody in general, I'll make a video. If you are like me and you want them to go out and sign an edge and party it up here a little bit, make sure you click that subscribe button. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to roll through some names. Frank Clark obviously has some experience in the AFC West. I don't think that they would really do it. He's played for the Broncos. He's played for the Chiefs. Little Uzi Clark is what we call him here at Chat Sports. Just the name to throw out there. Marcus Hayes is another name. 13 tackles last season, 6'2". Another smaller type of player. Like if this is a guy you're going to target, I'd almost rather you just rock with Amari Gaynor. Shaq Lawson, he was released, I want to say, earlier this offseason and getting up there in age a little bit. Deshaun Williams is another player that played for the Buffalo Bills. He's probably 31, 32 years old here at this point. Melvin Ingram is another name, and this is one of those dudes where he just continues to hang around the NFL, and if the Raiders wanted to add a veteran edge, instead of the names that I just said, Ingram is somebody that I would consider because he does have a lot of AFC West experience. He's played with Tom Telesco before. He's also been on a Miami defense that has had some names like a John Jenkins, been on a Miami defense that's had a Christian Wilkins, so you could potentially see that he's able to just get along with the team here a little bit more. Justin Houston, another name to at least throw out there, another old dude from a defensive end standpoint. Like, would you rather have Charles Snowden or Justin Houston and Melvin Ingram? Quite frankly, I'd rather have Houston. I would rather have a guy like Melvin Ingram out there just getting consistent snaps. Another name that I'll throw out there is Chaisson. He was a former first-round pick out of LSU, played with the Jacksonville Jaguars, also spent some time with the Carolina Panthers, which actually I don't even know if he actually did spend time with the Panthers. I think he was just there this offseason. Signed with them, and then they ended up cutting him. So he is a free agent, but he is somebody where I'm going to throw out a name, and I don't want to just, maybe it's the helmet playing with my mind here a little bit, Arden Key, of a dude that does have athletic talent. No doubt about it. He's just a little bit of a knucklehead, you know? So, like, if we could combine Rob Leonard, Patrick Graham, Antonio Pierce, you take some of those athletic traits, maybe they're going to be able to get the most out of him because we've seen it before. Even a dude like Cleveland Ferrell, sometimes you just need a fresh start. Hell, Arden Key, sometimes you just need a fresh start. So Chaisson is at least a name I would keep in mind. Coming up next here, though, it's the top 3 defensive end targets that the Raiders should consider. If Tom Telesco is serious, saying, hey, we need to add some extra depth here to this defensive line, there are 3 free agents that they absolutely positively should at least pick up the phone and give them a call. And I'm going to tell you who they are, but first I got to give a shout out to Game Time. Who here likes last-minute tickets at that lowest price guaranteed? I know I do. Who here, even though the Raiders are 0-1, still want to be able to go to a Raiders game? And I hope that the nation doesn't give up on this team, because I know I'm not going to. Now, I love watching the Raiders. I love watching football games in general, and I'm a Raider fan because of the diehard fan base that we have. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code ChatSports, that's ChatSports for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. Now, one of the things that they have are these Game Time picks, which I love Game Time picks. Not only do they have them for the football games, so like if you want to look on Game Time, you can see when the Raiders and Ravens are playing. You can go through, which I have the super deal highlighted. They have amazing deals. They have the great deal, but then they also have the Game Time picks. But not only do they have the Game Time pick for the Raiders game, they also have it for anybody that's like traveling to Baltimore. So like what I'll do is I'll go on Game Time, I'll look at where the cities are. You click on the tab, you can look through Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Dallas, Baltimore, and then you can just see some of the other things that are going down there, which I think is a really fun thing to do. Let's say, you're going out there to Baltimore to watch the Raiders, turn it into a family weekend. So you can see the views from your seats. You're going to get that low price, and the last minute tickets on the flash deals is how I personally do it. So if you liked everything that I said, hey, that lowest price guarantee, I also want to mention this. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if, you don't have, if there's another lower ticket out there. Game Time ticket coverage, though, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So download the Game Time app. Terms apply. Again, those links are going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. I know my voice sounds absolutely terrible, and if your voice sounds like mine, you still need to try to get out there to Game Time. You still need to try to get out there to the bank and cheer on this Raiders team. We can't go 0-2, man. Coming up, the top 3 defensive end targets for the Las Vegas Raiders. And the first name that I'm going to bring up there is Yannick Ngakoue. He was on the Raiders roster in 2021, but McDaniels traded him away for Rock Ya-Sin. He did only have 4 sacks last season in Chicago, but I'm going to use him as that pin your ears back, Benson Mayowa role. I always say it since 2019, and he's just got to be able to get north and south. I don't know how healthy he is. He's had multiple workouts this offseason, and every team that he's worked out for has passed on him, which could be a combination of he wants too much money. It could also be that he's not 100% healthy, which we have heard here from sources at Chat Sports. Another name that I'm going to throw out there is Rasheem Green. I don't think that he was used correctly in Chicago last season, quite frankly, and from 2021 to 2022, he did have 10 sacks. His PFF grades, which you can see down there below, 50.6 overall. But I'm really just looking for an edge that can try to get after the quarterback a little bit more, because that's what you're missing in Malcolm. I didn't expect Malcolm to be a big-time run stopper as a defensive end. That's why we have Adam Butler. It's why you have Wilkins. It's why you have John Jenkins. So I'm looking for somebody that can get after the quarterback. If you want a hybrid defensive end, defensive tackle guy, kind of like, that's what we expected out of Tyree Wilson. I'm going to go with Adam Gotsis, and he has played DE. He's played a little bit of defensive tackle, 54 starts in 121 games played since 2016. So one of the best things about being a free agent, I think, in this situation is he has been able to show that he can stay healthy. And that, quite frankly, is what the Raiders need. Also, worked with the Raiders linebacker coach last season, so there is a little bit of a connection there. But for a team that just needs some depth, Gotsis is definitely somebody that I would keep in mind, put up some solid PFF numbers as well. So if you could choose from those 3 players, now, you can also go up and say, Mitch, now they should go get Caleb on Chaisson. Now, Mitch, they should go get Melvin Ingram. Okay, hear me out. Just go down in the comments. To me, though, it's 3 names, and these are the top 3 names that the Raiders need to consider. If you want Telesco and AP to go out and get Ngakoue, type YM. If you want them to get Rasheem Green, give me an RG. If you want Gotsis, I want you to type AG down below. I'm going to go with my AG simply because I think it's just the safest pick, and it's not going to be a super sexy name. Like, quite frankly, I know damn well if the Raiders go out and sign Yannick Ngakoue, that's going to be a lot more eyeballs for this show and a lot of Raider fans out there because that's the name that they recognize. Somebody like Rasheem Green, probably a lot more eyeballs. For a guy like Adam Gotsis, though, defensive tackle, defensive end, a little bit of a hybrid player, I just think that that's the more reliable player right now for the Raiders. But if I'm being honest, sometimes when you get desperate, and I don't want to say desperate because we're only 0-1. There's been a lot of teams that have made the playoffs starting 0-1. We got a 25% chance if you look at the numbers. Going 0-2, that can't happen. So when I'm thinking about potential trades, there's 2 names that you have to keep in mind. The first one is Haasan Redick. Now, Chugs and I just got off our flight from Monday, And Reddick's not going to be playing in the Monday Night Football game up against the San Francisco 49ers, and he's willing to just give away checks. If I'm Las Vegas and I'm really concerned that Malcolm Koonce, and it was reported by Paul Gutierrez that he could actually miss the entire season, if you are worried that Malcolm's going to miss the entire season, or even a player like Tyree Wilson with that knee injury, we'll see what that is. If you're the Raiders, do you just consider going out, trading for Haasan Redick, giving him the contract extension? Because with Malcolm's injury, I don't know if you're going to end up bringing him back. And the reasons why I always said it before of I don't know if you should truly go out and trade for Redick is because I wanted them to save that money and extend Malcolm. Now with the situation that we're in, you got to at least consider it, because if you like yard sales, right now the Jets, They would probably be willing to give up Haasan Reddick for not all that much just so they could actually get something in return for this guy. The other name, and this is the name that I would actually say makes the most sense, Azeez Ojulari. I talked to our Giants host, Marshall Green, and he said all it would take is a 4th or a 5th round pick. And quite frankly, the Giants are a dumpster fire. You know what I mean? Like, the Giants are going to have the number 1 overall pick. That's how bad of a football team they are. And if you're the Giants, and if you're Patrick Graham, why not go out and get an edge where when he was a rookie, they drafted him in the 2nd round, I want to say 50th overall from the University of Georgia. He had 8 sacks as a rookie, and he looked like a player that was going to be a really, really solid edge rusher. But then what happens? The New York Giants just turned into a shit show, and he wasn't able to do a lot of the things that I think that he's great at, and he's a better edge rusher than he is a run stopper. But for the Giants over the past few seasons, they've been losing all the time, and so he hasn't really been able to get out and pin his ears back and get after the quarterback. Tom Telesco, Antonio Pierce. I know I said a lot of free agents up there. Go out and get Azeez Ojulari. Go up, offer him a 4th if that's what it takes. Go off, offer a 5th round if that's what it takes. Because what you can't afford to do is put it between your legs, tuck it between your legs, and just say, hey, we're going to give up here. That's not what this team does. The player that you need to go out and get is Azeez Ojulari. I expect the trade to happen only because I want it to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if I'm the Raiders and I'm running it, I'm going out and I'm trading for Azeez Ojulari.